Sometimes at our house, when a question comes up in a conversation that can't be answered, one of the guys will reach in, pull out his iPhone, and do a Google search to find the answer. Does that ever happen at your house? On the internet, we're seeking information about a product, a news story, directions to a house, recipes for dinner, books to buy, answers to trivia questions. In many ways, we, like the Magi, are seekers. God has placed within our hearts a desire to be with Him for all eternity. And so we search for the light of truth, the light of Jesus Christ, to guide our hearts, a light that will lead us safely home to be with God for all eternity. Like the Magi, we must listen both with our head and our hearts to probe the curious ways of God's providence. What are you seeking today? In a Peanuts strip, Lucy once grumbled to Charlie Brown about how awful her new year has been. She complained about all of her problems, and finally she said, "I don't think this is a new year at all. I think we've been stuck with a used year." Is your new year feeling like a used year? If so, God is inviting all of us to see with fresh eyes, the eyes of faith, to renew our belief that with God all things are possible, to realize that with God all things are made new. In today's gospel, we see the Magi are seeking for the newborn King of the Jews. What's amazing is that the Magi were not Jewish. They were Gentiles coming from the East, probably from Persia. They were trained in philosophy, science, medicine, and astrology. Even though they did not know the Jewish tradition, they knew that a new king had been born, and so they began the dangerous journey to find the child. Then in Jerusalem, the Jewish leaders, the scribes and Pharisees, who were awaiting the coming of the Messiah, they should have been attentive to the signs pointing the way to the newborn king. But it's only until after Herod asks them for information did they come across the passage from the book of Micah about a small, insignificant town called Bethlehem, which was to be the place where the shepherd of Israel, the Messiah, was to be born. The mystery of Christmas reveals to us that God comes to us in most unexpected ways, reminding us of the pursuit of truth, that we need one another, not just those with whom we agree, but we need those outside our circle of fellowship who can also help us to see with new eyes. A regular theme in the Gospels is that the Jewish people needed the Gentiles to awaken them to the truth. Their innocence, they were able to see and believe and put their trust in Jesus. And then the Gentiles, they needed the Jewish people to show them the path of truth that they were seeking in life. God, who created the heavens and the earth, has placed a longing in our hearts that we might be with Him for all eternity. In our pursuit of this wonderful treasure, we can easily lose our way, choosing power or control, choosing selfish interest and desires, choosing personal security, material wants, or just staying with the status quo, maintaining the world that we have created. All of these are examples of ways that we live in darkness. God calls us out of this darkness to live in His light, to not just be concerned with self, but to be present for one another. In this Christmas season, we are invited to ponder the gift we have been given in Jesus. Jesus, the Word made flesh. He is God's gift to us. In preparing to meet the newborn King, the Magi chose gifts that reflected their belief in the person they would meet. The gift of gold symbolized Jesus' human kingliness. The gift of frankincense reflected his divinity. The gift of myrrh was a foreshadowing of his redemptive death. The gifts of the Magi reveal the story of the child and connects him with their journey of faith. What is the gift that you give to the Christ child this Christmas season? Is your gift one that reflects your relationship with God, your love for God? Maybe your gift to Jesus this Christmas is a commitment to put God first in your life. Maybe your commitment on this Epiphany Sunday is a commitment to get rid of a bad habit that leads you into darkness. How about your relationships? Do they feel old and tired? Or can you look in your relationships with new and fresh eyes? Each of us are made in God's image and likeness. Therefore, there is mystery within each of us. We spend a lifetime discovering that mystery, and that's true as we look to one another. Remember, God does not want to just give us a used year. God is giving us a new year. As we begin this new year, we're asked to put aside anything that would keep us from saying yes to God's will for us, of saying yes to live in the light of the Lord. Truly, like the Magi, our journey has not been easy coming to this day, this time, this point in life. And yet, we are blessed today to encounter Jesus Christ, not in Bethlehem, but in the gift of the Eucharist, his body and blood, given to us to nourish us, to sustain us, to guide us each day of our lives.